Mum.
For too long, criminals have been getting away with it.
He's off and he's running down the alleyway.
But now the police and the public are fighting back. With an array of high-tech crime-fighting tools, the odds are tilting in our favour.
Technology is advancing at such a pace, it's going to change the way law enforcement in the 21st century is carried out.
As we track criminals on the streets and in the air.
This is going to be a game changer, and we are going to get more, better, faster results.
Capture crimes as they happen.
The ability to pinpoint wanted persons with speed and accuracy would be a huge resource for law enforcement.
And identify offenders faster than ever.
There are many crimes that can be virtually eliminated using technology.
Making our communities safe again, thanks to a Frontline Fightback. Today, a young mum uses her phone's tracking technology to help police hunt down a dangerous gang of robbers.
Using their Find My Phone apps, they were able to trace the movements of their phones away from the crime scene. That has taken a certain amount of courage.
The intruder alarm with 360 vision, scaring off would-be burglars.
We haven't had any break-ins since. It's like having a security guard on site 24/7.
And the new software, helping eyewitnesses remember what they've seen.
A tool like ours with interactive lineups is going to be a very effective instrument for the police to be able to identify more guilty perpetrators and take them off of our streets.
Early evening in a quiet residential street in Manchester. Young mum Courtney Slater is dragged screaming from her car at knife point.
I was just begging him, please let me get my kid, let me get my kid. I wasn't bothered about the car, wasn't bothered about anything in the car.
Residents rush to their windows to see what's happening. Courtney grabs her little boy out of the car just in time. What the offenders don't realise is that Courtney's phone is still on the back seat. Using the phone's inbuilt tracking technology, Courtney traces the robbers' movements and helps police hunt them down.
That takes a huge amount of courage, and it's something we're always grateful for. We could never have a successful prosecution without witnesses who are willing to step forward, provide testimony, provide evidence.
Detective Constable Anthony Calvert is part of the specialist anti-robbery unit, Operation Valiant. Anthony's passionate about cracking down on gangs of robbers.
It's quite easy to say just a phone snatch or a bag snatch, but you've got to remember the impact this would have on the victims involved. All robberies are serious because they all involve use of force in order to steal, either at the time of doing so or in order to do so.
Operation Valiant is based at Manchester's Longsight police station and targets persistent offenders.
The reason we've got a specific team set up here is because typically Greater Manchester in the city centre has represented about 50% of the force's robbery problem, and so it needed a dedicated and specialised response. What our unit takes on are the offences which are linked, as in it's one of many that are being perpetrated, we believe, by the same offending group, or it's ones we believe have been committed by target offenders, as in repeat robbery offenders, the ones that do real harm to the people coming to Manchester.
The unit has taken scores of robbers out of circulation and in many cases has seized weapons and drugs.
For the 3 years or so this has been running out of this office here, we've just recently passed the landmark of over 300 years cumulative total prison sentence passed. Numerous offenders put before the courts that otherwise may have gone unchallenged.
As well as making arrests, Operation Valiant carries out disruption patrols in robbery hotspots.
Our proactive element of our team, when they're out and about, stop checking people, stop searching people when that's required, have started to hear our name, our Operation Valiant name, being bandied about amongst those circles. So our name's becoming a deterrent. I firmly believe we are taking robbery offenders and criminals off the streets and putting them behind bars, sometimes for significant periods of time. Ultimately, that's what we want, to make these robbers realise that they can't go unchallenged and to maybe think twice before they go on committing crime.
Courtney Slater will never forget the terrifying ordeal she and her son were subjected to by a gang of armed robbers.
So as a mother, I think anything happening to your kids is your worst nightmare. They're your babies.
Just like any young mum, the single most important thing in Courtney's life is her little boy, Lekai.
I love everything about being a mum. I love waking up in the morning and seeing his little face, just watching him grow up and say new things every day and seeing his little personality just come out. Just watching him grow up.
Wow, he's such a good boy.
Bringing up a young child is expensive. Courtney and her boyfriend decided to sell some designer goods they no longer needed. They placed an advert on social media and quickly agreed a price. They arranged to meet the prospective buyer nearby in the Gorton area of Manchester.
When he's sold some of his clothes and stuff, I've dropped him off a few times to go and, sell them, and everything's always run smoothly and it's always been fine. So I didn't think it was going to be any different, and especially as it was so close to home.
But this time, it wasn't fine. They were being lured into a trap. Courtney strapped Lekai into his car seat in the back of her Renault Clio, and they set off.
When we came out of one of the avenues, we seen the taxi, pulling away, and we just seen one guy, and he was walking down the street. So we assumed that was the buyer, so we drove next to him.
Courtney pulled over, and her boyfriend got out of the car to make the sale. By now, it was early evening. What happened next was captured on cameras on the front of people's homes. A taxi pulls up a few meters up the road, and two men jump out. One of them's carrying a knife.
Next thing, there was two guys, and I could see them in my rearview mirror running behind my car. And then they went for my boyfriend, saying, "Give us your stuff, give us your stuff."
The whole thing was a trap, and the prospective buyer was in on it. The three men attacked Courtney's boyfriend, demanding he hand over the designer goods.
I just felt shocked. I didn't really know how to feel, because you kind of don't register what's going on, even though you sort of do. That was when I realised I started to panic.
Courtney's boyfriend runs for help. He's being chased by three men. One of them turns back and goes to the car just as Courtney's about to drive off.
I put my car into first gear. Next thing I knew, my driver's door just swung open. I was like, oh my God.
A neighbour hears what's going on and starts filming the incident on her smartphone.
I was just begging him, please, let me get my kid, let me get my kid. Like, I wasn't bothered about the car, I wasn't bothered about anything in the car. It was just Lekai. Not being able to just grab him or make sure he's safe, and not knowing if I was going to be able to get him, that was definitely like the worst thing.
The attacker wants Courtney out of the car so they can use it as their getaway vehicle.
I'm a helpless mum. I have nothing. Like, I've never ever been in a situation like that, ever.
Courtney's little boy is still strapped into his car seat in the back of the car.
I was just thinking, what if he drives off with him in the car and dumps him? What if he just abandons the car and leaves him? What if they hurt him or crash with him in the car? Oh my God.
The attacker's two accomplices are back. As they get inside, Courtney grabs Lekai and pulls him clear.
Before I'd even fully got him out of the car, they'd already started driving off.
The car speeds off, leaving Courtney and her little boy at the side of the road. Crucially, her phone and that of her boyfriend are still on the back seat. It would be these phones that would eventually provide the breakthrough in the hunt for the offenders. The robbery had been carried out in full view on a residential street. Several witnesses came forward and provided police with vital information. Dr. Emmeline Taylor is Associate Professor in Criminology at City, University of London. Emmeline's written a book based on interviews with armed robbers.
It's really important if somebody is witness to a criminal event taking place that they come forward and they share with the police what they've seen. Quite often witnesses think that it's trivial information, but actually sometimes what seems like a very trivial piece of information might be the key to convicting a very serious offender.
Part of our duties within Operation Valiant are to keep track of all the robberies as and when they're recorded, to filter them to see whether they are linked, to see who we believe may be involved.
The robbery was reported to the police by several witnesses, and the phone footage was posted online.
For a witness to film an incident like this, it does take a degree of quick thinking. It does take a degree of sort of willpower as well. We were able in quick time to actually see that footage ourselves. What was very striking was the level of violence used, was the fact it had happened on a suburban street in broad daylight, early evening time. Other people could easily have been walking about, knives were used, and it had been filmed. All those things stood out straight away.
The increasing use of smartphones to record crimes and capture evidence is making life harder for criminals.
The vast majority of us are walking around with a hugely powerful crime-fighting device in our pockets, the mobile phone, and this has really revolutionised the amount of data that is available for criminal investigation. An incident has occurred and somebody has very quickly thought to take their mobile phone out and film what has happened, and some of this information can then be pivotal in the conviction of the criminals.
That film, courtesy of the witness, was hugely important. It's incontrovertible as far as evidence go. It's never mistaken. It's there. People are fallible, footage isn't. You've got the incident unfolding, captured in quite high resolution and in startling clarity.
Later, the technology on Courtney's smartphone that allows her and her boyfriend to track down these vicious criminals.
They did that without any police assistance. They did it off their own backs, decided to follow where their phones had gone, knocked on various addresses, met with, as you can imagine, little in the way of welcome.
Not all crime is committed in towns and cities. Thefts and break-ins also blight rural communities. Here, as in the rest of Britain, businesses are turning to technology to deter criminals. And in some cases, the impact has been dramatic.
We felt completely safe straight away because this monitoring system had 360-degree sensors on it. And basically, anyone walked into that zone, it would let off an alarm. They would call the police and the police would attend straight away.
Set in the rolling English countryside of rural Northamptonshire, White's of Earls Barton has been selling fruit and vegetables since 1940. The business was started by Eddie White's grandfather.
Got some nice raspberries. The business has been running for over 80 years. We've always sold fruit and veg. It started from my granddad growing from a greenhouse in Earls Barton, and then we had market stalls on Wellingborough Market. We went on to grow on site and sell to the local people.
The business has passed down through generations.
You all right, Charlotte?
Today, it's a thriving wholesalers and farm shop run by Eddie and his brother James.
I'm very passionate about it and enjoy doing what I do, and hopefully one day the children will take it over as well.
Shoppers flock here during the day, but by night, its rural location makes it vulnerable to thieves and burglars.
We're sitting on our own just outside of the village, so yes, we are vulnerable to falling victim of crime. We've had vehicles stolen in the past from the site, and units broken into, and warehouses broken into.
Eddie has always taken security seriously and had a 2-metre steel perimeter fence put up to protect the site.
We've got CCTV and security cameras, guard dogs, electric gates, so as much as we could, really.
But the trouble with criminals is they're always on the lookout for an opportunity. And the moment you let your guard down, they strike.
Obviously, we're open to the public. There's a retail farm shop, so any one of those people coming in on a daily basis could be, you know, case in the joint, should we say. We're having some building work done on the site, so we removed some of the security fencing we had and replaced with just builders' temporary fencing. There was no real security measures in place other than the CCTV that was going to stop them from entering the site.
Overnight, thieves entered the site and broke into shipping containers being used to store property.
What happened is the offenders came across the fields at the back, come right round the back here and entered the site, broke into the storage containers. They then got the loot out into the yard and came along with their vehicle, entered the site and loaded it up. The CCTV was up on the building over there, and basically that shone straight down there, and we got them on camera.
CCTV captured the thieves as they made their getaway. But the cameras were too far away to identify them. Property worth thousands of pounds had been taken.
We called the police, got a crime number. They came out, done forensics, but it's very hard to get fingerprints off doors that are being used by different people on a daily basis. Felt very angry that someone had caused so much damage and stolen these goods. It's upsetting for us, it's our reputation on the line, and you know, we don't want things like that to happen around here. We were a bit unsure what to do, really. We felt very vulnerable with the fences still being down, with our new building project in motion.
Then, Eddie was contacted by the Northamptonshire Police and Crime Commissioner's Office. They offered Eddie 2 of these, a new intrusion detection system called the VideoGuard 360, available on a free 1-month trial.
We weren't really sure what the VideoGuard 360 would do for us, but we thought, you know, we need to give this a go because we can't keep getting broken into like this.
Criminals typically share information and they'll research their crimes. Anything that a premises can do to signal that they've taken their security seriously is going to have an impact on that offender's decision making. They might decide that that particular target is too difficult, requires too much effort, too much skill, too much knowledge that perhaps they don't have, and so they'll move on to a softer target. So really it's about the presentation of that premises, so having appropriate signage, having visible cameras, making it clear to that offender that if you pick on us, we are going to fight back with all the technology that we have at our disposal.
White nurseries are particularly vulnerable because they're in a rural location, and these locations are far more attractive to thieves as targets because they believe that they'll go undetected in these areas, and if they are detected, then there's multiple escape routes.
Julian Free works for security firm PID Systems, the company that created the VideoGuard 360, also unofficially known as the Dalek.
The VideoGuard 360 stands about sort of 4.5 feet high. It's a big, solid, metal-looking unit, all in the police Battenberg colours, which is designed to create a really strong deterrent to criminals. And a lot of our customers have ended up referring to them as Daleks just because of the unusual technical sort of look to them.
The Dalek gives a 360-degree view of its surroundings. It uses infrared light to detect heat or motion on sight.
So when it detects an intruder, it effectively jumps into life. It flashes this high-intensity 4,000 lumen white light, which startles intruders. It's got a 114 decibel pre-recorded warning voice.
Warning, this is security. Your presence has been detected. The owner and police have been informed.
The reaction we tend to get from intruders when the system activates is generally shock and awe.
Images of any intruder are sent in real time to a control centre.
We've got a team of guys, all generally ex-police or ex-military, that they will assess the images, see what's going on, and if it's criminal activity we observe, we escalate straight to the police.
In this demonstration, the system is set up to work with other deterrent technologies, such as a fog and smart water spray.
Warning, this is security. Your presence has been detected. The owner...
If an intruder does persist in moving into an area that they shouldn't be, then this is the secondary stage of it. It has a high-intensity nozzle here that produces fog, and what it does is it fills an area and it's completely disorientating. It will then issue a spray of the smart water mist from the top nozzle here.
The owner and police have been informed.
Smart water is a forensic marking solution which is only visible under UV light. Each solution has a unique code so it can be traced back to the location it was deployed at, linking the criminal to the crime scene.
If it is activated and a criminal does get covered in it, when they get arrested and when we do the lab analysis, we can link them back to a specific location and create an evidential trail that the police can use to get a prosecution.
This high-tech intruder alarm is designed to protect vulnerable businesses like construction sites or wind farms.
Well, the system's highly effective at stopping what is persistent crime, so we often find that where there are businesses or locations that are repeat victims of crime, we put our units in and it literally nips it in the bud overnight.
Eddie has now had the steel perimeter fence reinstated and is continuing to use 2 VideoGuard 360s at his site in Earls Barton.
We use them through the police for about a month, which they funded, and then we carried on paying for it ourselves. We haven't had any break-ins since, purely for the fact it's like having a security guard on site 24/7. When you're laying in bed at night, you know that your property's being protected.
Warning, this is security.
We've seen how young mum Courtney Slater and her little boy Lekai were caught up in an armed robbery. The incident took place in full view of people living in the area. One resident filmed it from her bedroom window.
As an officer of 20 years service now, it's one of the most impactful pieces of footage I've seen.
Detective Constable Anthony Calvert is part of Greater Manchester's anti-robbery unit.
Her desperate actions to get her child back, the willingness to put herself in harm's way in front of these men with knives, it all goes to show how desperate she was despite that terror, and really is a testament to her courage as well.
Courtney's phone was still on the back seat of the car. It was the tracking technology on that phone and the public response to the video posted online that helped crack this case.
People start saying, I've seen that, posting about what they've seen. And so already you know and have a short list of people you want to speak to.
One name in particular kept coming up, Tyrese Chisholm. Chisholm was already well known to the police.
As soon as we were aware Tyrese Chisholm was involved in this particular case, alarm bells were ringing. We were very acutely aware of the risk he presented to the public. We've been dealing with him for numbers of offences since 2018. This particular case just highlights the level of danger. Don't forget here, knives had been produced in public, had been held against people to perpetrate the robbery. So it was no great surprise to see his name mentioned.
Rob Gomery is a former Frontline officer at Lancashire Police. Rob now teaches policing students at the University of Central Lancashire.
The public are fabulous at responding to this kind of incident. It's really valuable evidence, and yeah, it is a brave thing to do, and it is a key thing for the public to do to assist the police in catching offenders.
Police were determined to track down Chisholm and his two accomplices as quickly as possible. It was Courtney and her boyfriend who provided the breakthrough. Their smartphones were still on the back seat of the car. On those devices was an app called Find My Phone. The purpose of the app is simple. If you lose your phone, it will help you find it by sending you its location. Courtney logged on to the app.
Both iPhones were left in the rear of the car that was stolen at knife point. Using their Find My Phone apps, they were able to trace the movements of their phones away from the crime scene. The key thing about phone tracking is it's not an exact art. If you look at any one of these tracking applications, you'll see that it plots a broad circle, a margin of error, if you like, within which it's expected your phone ought to be. But it's pretty accurate.
Armed with a rough location, Courtney and her boyfriend decided to go and find their phones.
They did that without any police assistance. They did it off their own backs, decided to follow where the phones had gone, knocked on various addresses, met with, as you can imagine, little in the way of welcome.
Eventually, their detective work paid off. They spotted their stolen car parked at the side of the road. Courtney contacted the police.
Lots of people do actually do that sort of thing just so they can tell police where the phone is. It's unusual to go as far as actually knocking on the doors. That has taken a certain amount of courage. There's always a risk that you're putting yourself in danger by doing that. I would always say the first port of call ought to be tell the police about it and let us handle that information. But it was certainly a brave decision, and it led to key information in this case.
The car was recovered, and the new information led police to a nearby hostel where Chisholm's girlfriend was living. Security cameras at the hostel provided them with a timeline of events. At 6:21 p.m. on the day of the robbery, one of the gang, Caden Jones arrives at the hostel. Tyrese Chisholm meets him in the lobby, and they go inside. Their faces and the clothes they're wearing link them directly to the robbery. In the courtyard, they're joined by a third man. Initially, police don't know who he is.
He was someone who'd not come to the attention of my team, Operation Valiant, before.
The third man was eventually identified, thanks in part to a distinctive tattoo on his neck. This was Brandon Smith.
Lo and behold, there was our third offender, there was his picture, and there was the tattoo.
At 6:34 p.m, the three robbers, Chisholm, Smith, and Jones, leave the hostel and get into the waiting taxi. They've arranged to meet Courtney's boyfriend and buy some designer goods off him. But as we now know, it's a trap.
This investigation was unusual in that things unfolded and fell into place very quickly due to the wealth of information we had at the outset. The offence occurred on the 17th of June. By the 21st of June, all three suspects were in the cells. We're on about a very, very serious incident. We're talking about people here who we deem a very serious risk to the public, carrying knives, willing to hold them to necks of their victims. So it was that was driving it through.
All three men pleaded guilty. Smith got 3 years 4 months for 2 counts of robbery. Jones got 3 years 8 months for 2 counts of robbery and possession of a knife. Chisholm was jailed for 4 years for 2 counts of robbery, driving offences, and making threats with a blade in a public place.
I genuinely do believe we are making Manchester a safer place. Robbery is a horrible, violent crime. These are significant sentences and ought to serve as a deterrent for anyone considering committing this kind of crime.
The brave actions of a young mum, the support of the public, and the willingness of witnesses to provide evidence were all vital.
Without witnesses coming forward and explaining what they saw, what they did, what they heard or smelt, a court case can be compromised because digital technology alone isn't necessarily enough to ensure a conviction. So it's really important that witnesses come forward and assist the police, and in doing so assist their communities in apprehending and ensuring offenders are convicted.
Smartphone technology played a crucial role in this case. Courtney's courage in tracking her phone's location provided police with a huge breakthrough and led them straight to these 3 violent robbers.
They're able to track their phones to key and significant locations involving addresses associated with the defendants in this case. That was certainly quite a compelling piece of evidence to put before the courts.
The evidence provided by several other eyewitnesses was also pivotal.
That footage on that phone was a crucial piece of evidence. That falling into our hands at an early point informed the whole investigation, hinted at routes of ingress and egress, gave us specific directions to follow in terms of witness inquiries and CCTV inquiries. And it really was, in this case, what cracked it open, because on the back of that footage, the whole thing started to fall into place like a jigsaw puzzle.
Okay, you want to put your wellies on?
Courtney will never forget her ordeal. Neither will she forget the witnesses who had the courage to come forward and the detectives who responded so quickly.
I'm very grateful for the police and especially the detectives who wanted to work on my case because they knew that they could do it and they did. It makes me very, very grateful.
Now more than ever, Courtney's priority is ensuring her little boy is happy and content.
Mackay is very active, lively, he loves singing, he's very clever. He's just a very happy little toddler.
As we've seen, evidence provided by witnesses is crucial in helping to identify criminals.
Eyewitnesses play an integral role in solving cases. They provide leads in investigations. They can help us identify where to locate forensic evidence and help us learn how to interpret that evidence.
But if you haven't filmed the incident and you're relying on your memory, making a correct identification isn't easy. Traditional ID parades, where a witness walks along the lineup and picks out the suspect, are consigned to the past. These days, witnesses are asked to look at photographs or study video images.
Currently, the way that police conduct lineups, they make it such that all of the individuals are highly similar to one another. And often, very little distinguishing information is available for the witness to make an ID.
Heather Flo is Professor of Psychology at the University of Birmingham. Heather's been looking at how to improve memory retrieval of witnesses.
People often discount eyewitness memory, believing that it's not accurate and that it's not reliable, but really it's the procedures that are used to collect that memory evidence that make all the difference. And if we could develop better procedures for interviewing witnesses and for presenting them with lineups, then we could secure much better evidence in cases that allow for solving crimes.
The theory is, by changing those procedures, memory recall can be improved.
Most jurisdictions use two-dimensional photographic lineups that portray the police suspect, who might be guilty or innocent, embedded amongst fillers or people that the police know are innocent. And it's really a test of the witness's memory to see if they could identify the police suspect and then connect them to a particular criminal action.
Heather has developed a new interactive lineup that gives witnesses three-dimensional images that can be viewed from different angles.
Our objective is to increase the rate at which witnesses identify guilty culprits and to reduce the rate that innocent suspects are identified by witnesses. We know that viewpoint is extremely important for witnesses when they make an identification. So what we set out to do is to test our procedure to see if it enabled witnesses to rotate faces to match the angle from which they saw the perpetrator commit the crime.
The new interactive lineups were tested by thousands of volunteers.
So we tested 3,000 people from around the world. We showed them a mock crime, and we looked to see if they manipulated the photographs in the lineup to match the pose from which they saw the perpetrator commit the crime. And they did. Without any prompting from us, people spontaneously rotated the images so that it matched the perspective from which they saw the perpetrator.
Even a small change in the way we view something could potentially improve memory recall.
It's almost like hearing your old favorite song on a radio. When you hear the song again, it brings back memories of people that you were with, the times that you had together. In much the same way, if you have a lineup that presents information that's consistent with the different features that the witness saw when the crime was committed, that can help them better recognize the criminal perpetrator. This lineup procedure allows witnesses to grab and rotate the faces using their computer mouse. And by doing that, they're able to see the different viewpoints of the face, but also see how the different features of the face move together. And this information about motion and about viewpoint is really critical in recognizing other people.
The tests showed an increase in the number of accurate identifications, which could ultimately mean more criminals being brought to justice.
We were absolutely delighted. What was amazing about our findings is that this procedure decreases the rate at which innocent suspects are identified while boosting accurate recognition of guilty perpetrators by 41%.
Good eyewitnesses are highly valued. Improving their memory recall can only help in the fight back against crime. Former Lancashire detective Anne Beswick has conducted hundreds of victim and witness interviews.
eyewitnesses see things and nuances of behaviour that cameras will never pick up. Very often one of the things that we will ask a witness is, what gave you that in particular impression? Why were you left feeling in a particular way? Cameras don't record emotions. So eyewitnesses are extremely important to the police. Without the eyewitness, very often the police don't have a case to be able to take to court.
The next step is to pilot these new interactive lineups in real criminal investigations.
A tool like ours with interactive lineups is going to be a very effective instrument for the police to be able to identify more guilty perpetrators and take them off of our streets. Discussions are actively happening about trialing this in police forces in the UK, as well as other parts of the world. I believe this is something we'll see within the next year or so.
Heather's already developing the next generation of interactive lineup software.
Current tests are underway to see how we could further extend the system so that it covers more situations in real life. We have, for example, witnesses who see crimes from a downward angle. So can we develop a lineup where the witnesses can rotate the images to see the top of the heads? Or witnesses might see the different facial expressions that the perpetrator makes. And so can we incorporate facial expressions into a lineup? Lighting is another example. We see people under different lighting conditions, and this can dramatically affect how they appear. So the next generation system that we're developing takes into account all of these features.
For Heather, the aim is to help improve the reliability of eyewitness evidence and help in the fight against crime.
It's been a brilliant project to work on. We've worked with people from all around the world to make this type of lineup a reality, and we think that it's the key to allowing people to make more accurate identifications from lineups.
Business owners are making life harder for criminals, harnessing technology to deter and detect crime.
If something was to happen again, we would be alerted immediately that there was someone on site breaking in. With the sirens going off, I think the criminal would leave straight away.
But the role played by ordinary members of the public is equally important. Providing eyewitness evidence, helping to identify offenders, ensuring they're caught and brought to justice.
It's always amazed me how observant members of the public are who come forward when they've witnessed something. The capacity for the human brain to remember certain nuances in somebody's behaviour is phenomenal. Your human witness will pick things out that your camera will never see.
Well, there's no need to wait. This week's EastEnders episodes, all 4 of them, you can watch right now on BBC iPlayer. And will the truth about the nights that changed their lives be revealed? Sherwood continues tonight at 9 here on BBC One. Well, next, they have no choice. It's time to change the locks. The sheriffs are coming.